Instead of making it Mac OS, they're just like taking all of their apps and putting it on iPad, like Final Cut and Logic and everything.
You mean Final Cut for iPad 2? That
Sorry,
confused our
excuse me.
entire office for a while.
Yeah, this is very confusing. They announced three new apps actually. They announced Final Cut for iPad 2, which is weird because Final Cut for iPad didn't come out that long ago, and it was missing a bazillion features and is a monthly subscription and sucks in a lot of ways.
It was also confusing how they said it because what they said was with 2 new apps, Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro 2.
Yeah.
To me, that is Final Cut Pro
Yeah.
and Logic Pro 2.
Yeah.
Then we started thinking it was called Final Cut Pro 2, and then we got very worried that maybe they were going to do a Final Cut Pro 2 for the Mac and then charge people again.
Right.
But then somebody was like, wait, why is this called iPad 2? And it's like, no, it's called Final Cut for iPad 2.
Yeah. Which, why are they
Maybe
doing that? I don't know. Final Cut for iPad 2?
If you hover over it on that, will that pop up and say Final Cut for iPad 2?
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe we just think this is dumb. This
Yeah.
might feel like one of those things that just seems so simple, but that confused
The first one did not come out that long ago, and it was missing a million features that they said they were going to add and didn't add. And it seems like the only benefit of Final Cut for iPad is to like start putting clips together on a train so that when you get home, you can like then bring it into your MacBook. But that's a $5 a month subscription, which is insane.
I've spent worse for $5 a month.
I just see it as so useless.
Well, another thing they announced, which was something we got excited for, then we're promptly not excited about, was
Final Cut camera.
The Final Cut Live Cut camera.
Yeah.
Which when they first said it said you can live cut up to 4 cameras. So all of us were like, can we live cut the podcast now using an iPad? That sounds so cool. But you have to install an app called
Final Cut Camera
Live, I think. Just Final Cut Camera. And it's only on iPhones and iPads. So you can switch between up to 4 cameras that are on iPhones or iPads.
Yeah.
So this podcast will now be shot on all iPhones. No, iPads. We should all use iPads.
iPads.
Yes,
it's one of each of our grandparents holding an iPad.
Yeah. All my grandparents are dead.
Mine too.
Same.
Nice.
So how many grandparents do you have?
All 4, but no, I got 3.
3? That's all we need.
Dude,
Yeah.
3 cameras.
bring them in.
Yeah. Bring them in.
All right.
Okay.
We're taking over the podcast. Me and my ancestors.
So yeah, this was so weird. They showed they were like shooting this climbing video, and they had 4 different people with iPhones in cages, like taking video, and then they had one person on the iPad, and they were basically live editing a video by switching between the iPhone cameras.
When this showed on the screen, everyone in the studio just turned and looked at me. And was like, can we do this on the podcast?
Yeah.
This is just the dumbest thing ever.
It seems so over-engineered, and I don't know.
This is like Apple's perfect world where they're like, nobody will ever have a dedicated camera ever anymore, and everyone will use their iPhone for everything.
For
and
live
movies,
streaming, though.
but nobody uses 4 iPhones to do live streaming.
But you couldn't before. Now you can.
Who cares?
Well, can you live stream from the Final Cut app into like a service?
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, even if it wasn't built into the app, you could just get a capture card and a dongle.
True.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit with Ellis if he's playing it with me. But
Yeah.
I think there's definitely scenarios. First of all, if we want to always tell people, go make content with what you have, and what you have is an iPhone, it's hard to knock this because...
No. Now you need 4 iPhones and an iPad Pro.
Yeah.
That's
a lot more
It is more.
than
Yeah,
just a
it
bunch
probably
of
is
gear.
more expensive than a nice camera and a microphone. But
I get it though, because like when this was first announced, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool for like video podcasts, because you could be like, hey, 3 friends, come over with your iPhones, just set it up and we'll use the iPhones. But again, this isn't a cheaper alternative to something. Like you can already do that with free software and whatever iPhone you currently have. So
it'll be easier.
yeah.
And the way they were showing it off was like doing live cutting from the iPad. And it's like, are you going to have a producer for your podcast where you live cut?
I think there's a scenario...
Not available.
If I had to find the scenario where I think this works best, it's just that video is just like so important for any type of business and marketing right now. So if you're a smaller business that can't afford a production team or production equipment or like even really a social media manager, maybe there's some way that you want to actually do some sort of online marketing, and chances are there's 4 iPhones in your work. And if you can convince those people to connect them up with Final Cut camera, you could probably do some content. Like, and I had to dig for that.
That's a good point.
I don't love this thing that much. I don't see me ever using it, but I do think there is some scenarios. Social media is just way too powerful these days, and it's some of the best marketing out there.
Look. I'm going to play devil's advocate too here.
Like Final Cut 2?
Devil's advocate for iPad 2.
But assuming, and I know this is a big assumption, gargantuan assumption, just huge assumption.
Okay.
But assuming this Final Cut camera for iPhone can stream wirelessly to the iPad in 4K, and you can have multiple 4K streams, how much do you think a standalone dedicated hardware 4K switcher would cost?
We've looked into this before.
Oh, I know.
$229.
I thought it was like 10,000+.
Okay. Neither of you are even close. That was hilarious. It's about $1,800 for a 4K switcher. And then probably another $1,000 for an actual controller to use it.
David was way closer than I was.
I was going to say relatively.
So for like the $2,200 you're all in on a 4K switcher, you could get almost a top of the line iPad, which could do everything else too. Assuming it's 4K.
Yeah. My ultimate question is, would there be some way of us taking a professional camera with a video output as like an external monitor into an iPhone, and then the iPhone would be able to cast that into the iPad, and then you could live switch? I have a feeling the answer is no.
But if it's yes, dude, that changes everything. That would be dude, what?
Honestly, that
would be so
more iPhone
cool.
sales. Now we have to buy an iPhone for each one of our cameras.
No, dude, no. We could literally, we could throw out our Terra deck and we could just use iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Wireless, dude, the amount of headaches wireless video causes this studio. Like if we could do what you just described.
That's the other question, is what is the range of this wireless video? To be fair, they were rock climbing and they were up on the wall, and he was live switching. Yeah, and I know they never lie on those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there wasn't the scene where the rock climber like goes to the gym employee and is like, "What's the Wi-Fi so I can do my camera switch."
I love Rocks 2024's.
Right. That's what it is at every gym, right? It's like it's the law.
It's almost all, yeah.
Pretty
much like I love where I am the year.
Yeah.
Exclamation point.
So yeah. Anyway, this Final Cut 2 for iPad 2. They didn't really announce a lot of new features for it, which is the other thing that was weird. They barely talked about it. They said that there was like the instant rotoscoping. Mm-hmm. That's kind of all they talked about.
To be fair, if that works like that, is a fantastic.
Yeah, and they should have just put it in Final Cut for iPad 1.
Not wrong.
They also announced Logic for iPad 2, or just Logic Pro 2, maybe just
Logic Pro for iPad 2.
I don't know. I think it was just 2. Ellis, do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you want to talk about what they added to Logic Pro 2?
They added a bass guy and a keyboard guy, to complement the drum guy. People like the drum guy.
Oh, the drum guy was there already.
Can you explain what that is?
Man,
like you did to me yesterday.
Yeah. So essentially, like, if you don't want to program drums in a track you're working on, you can open up this thing. I think they call it the Studio Drummer. I don't use it for work here, but you have this sort of like grid that has a bunch of parameters, like an XY grid, and then you tell it, you place this little dot on and it'll just like play drums along with your music. And because it's Apple, all of the different drummers have like names. I can't remember what them, but like if you want like the rock drummer, you have to like choose Scott. And if you want like the dance drummer, you choose.
I thought you meant the rock, like the Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, like
no.
Oh, the pop rock is Kyle, retro rock is Logan.
Why?
Hard rock is Anders. Yeah, so it's like this thing, and it actually works well. Like it's tasteful drums. It sounds real enough to like use for a demo. So they've opened this up to bass and keys.
Is it a set beat or something, or is it listening to what you've created and creates based on that?
You're in Logic Pro already, so Logic knows the tempo of your song, because when you're making music in a computer, you're almost always locked to the grid. So you've already set the tempo, it knows that. it's going to look at your MIDI and potentially your audio too and sort of be like, okay, like this is a section. He's got a bunch of instruments coming here. There should probably be a fill right here. I believe you could also tell it to like switch, like go to the hi-hats here. And then you're giving it a bunch of info like, I want you to play big fills. I want you to play simple, quiet stuff. It's a cool feature. It's, you know, I wasn't like, this is the best. I've been waiting for the bass guy, you know. But
what is the situation on this on if you are producing that music and selling it or using it
I don't think they
YouTube material?
No, I don't think they take any.
There's no copyright. Like, what are the chances it creates something extremely similar as someone else, and then can you copyright that music?
That's not really how music copyrights work. You can't
disagree.
You can't. As far as I'm aware, you can't really copyright a specific like instrumental figure in a song. You can copyright melodies for sure. And that's sort of where drums are nice because they're inherently amelodic. Whether, you know, like, I don't know. It feels like the how many monkeys in a basement does it take to type Shakespeare sort of thing. Like with the bass, like maybe eventually someone will get a famous bass line, but just like, Adam just Googled, did Fort Minor have to pay Apple? Was there a Fort Minor song?
So basically, Fort Minor, remember the name, that song, is an Apple loop from GarageBand.
Really?
Yeah, so, like that's just a loop. So I'm trying to figure out if they had to pay for
it. No. Loops have specific license agreements that you accept when you open the software that make it like they're royalty free. You can use loops. The big thing with loops, and I know we're getting way off topic, I'm going to get to the other Logic Pro thing, is that you're not allowed to redistribute them as loops. So you can't buy a loop pack and then sell those loops as like your original loops. You have to use them in a song. Okay, the other feature.
There's two more.
Two more?
Yeah,
I only remember one.
The stem splitter.
Yeah.
And there's the Chroma glow toning.
Oh my God. That was like, okay, let's do the stem splitter first. Stem splitter, this is not new. The apps have been doing this for like 5 or more years. You give it a song and it gives you 4 audio files with all the different tracks. I have no idea. I'm sure it works because other people have been making this work for years. Apple is probably the best audio company on the planet, so not surprised. It's true. We all know it's true. Sorry. Who else is there?
Someone was very upset that you said the AirPods too.
Dude, I got so many like comments like, wow, you should fire him. Like, he clearly doesn't know anything about audio.
Wow.
They sound really good. And if you don't believe me that they sound really good, just like start researching to the degree to which they're tuned more than any other speaker you can buy. Like if they don't sound good, it's millions, hundreds of millions of dollars wasted. Chill. Okay, stem splitter. So yeah, it probably works. I don't know, man. Like, cool. I was like, that's pretty cool. Okay. The Chroma glow.
Yeah.
That really confused me because they did the classic Apple thing where they were like, oh, this is going to change everything. Get ready. But like, I really didn't understand like what made it, like, is it not just a harmonic saturator?
Does what it is.
Do anything?
The marketing says Chroma Glow models the sound produced by a blend of the world's most revered studio hardware by leveraging AI and the power of M-series Apple Silicon. Users can dial in the perfect tone with 5 different saturation styles to add ultra-realistic warmth, presence, and punch to any track. They can also choose from modern clean sounds, nostalgic vintage warmth, or more extreme styles that can be shaped and molded to taste.
Can we start a timer 2-minute explanation of this? Ready?
Wait, hold on. I gotta actually set the timer.
Yeah, if you don't want to hear this, just skip ahead.
Yeah, skip ahead 2 minutes. Okay, so people think old audio gear tends to sound better than new audio gear. And the reason that is because old audio gear has this thing that's called non-linearity. As you approach the loudest you can get, the loudness doesn't happen across all frequencies at the same rate. Typically, the lower frequencies tend to come out more, and this is due to this process called harmonic saturation. Think about one single frequency, a single sine wave, and then you add these little speckles of sine waves and these mathematical orientations up the frequency band, and your ears just hear it as like one warm, nice sound. If you add a lot of saturation, it stops sounding like saturation and it starts sounding like distortion. Clipping, like real audio clipping, is typically
there you go.
Clipping is typically the most extreme form of saturation where there's so many harmonics that the waves are actually getting cut off. Okay, so typically the way these things work is they're effectively giant audio LUTs. You take an old piece of gear, you run every frequency at every volume through it, and you make this giant lookup table of input to output, and then you can recreate that digitally. I would hope, since they're shoving the word AI down our throats every 5 seconds in this stupid that they're using an AI to somehow more smoothly and cleanly get around and through those lookup tables. I don't know. Maybe they're using AI to blend those lookup tables. Maybe they're not using AI at all, and they're just doing what other audio companies have been doing for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
My take is that it's just...
Wait, my 2 minutes aren't up yet.
Continue, yeah.
30 seconds.
Was I excited that Apple is introducing a harmonic saturator? Not really. Like, I have tons of killer harmonic saturators that don't claim to use AI already in my workflow. And also, I'm not really making music here that often, so I don't use them very much. So I got a big nope on this one. But if anyone can explain to me why it should be a dope, I'll take it.
Time's up. Nice.
All right. Sorry, David.
My take is that it's just machine learning that they've been doing forever, and they are starting to reformat whenever they say they used to just say ML, they are now just starting to say AI because their services businesses are doing badly and their stock was not doing as well as they hoped, and they figure they can juice the stock if they just start saying AI, even if it's just regular machine learning. In my humblest opinion, if you are not using transformers, just call it machine learning, but that's just me. Okay. Cool.
One more thing.
Oh, I do have another.
Okay.
Well, so I just looked it up. It is Logic Pro for iPad 2.
Right, but not Logic Pro 2.
No.
No.
But they are updating Logic Pro to be called Logic Pro 11 on like Mac.
Is it 10 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Final Cut Pro 10?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's being updated to Logic Pro 11, which will be a free update for people who already have Logic Pro, or you can still buy it for the $300 or $200 one-time fee.
Yeah. Or their free trial lasts forever. So not
like
literally
WinRAR.
forever, but like a long time.
Okay, but you can also pay the $5 a month on the iPad, just like Final Cut, which terrible. I'm so over subscription fees. Anyway, yeah, so those were the 3 new apps that they introduced. Last thing, and I promise we'll get to trivia pretty soon, but they also introduced an Apple Pencil Pro, which, it was bound to happen.
Just another one on the most confusing lineup possible.
Yes.
You've looked, the Apple Pencil lineup is absurd. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So previously they had like a tap gesture that you could do to switch things. Now you can squeeze the pencil, which brings up a tool palette. They also put haptics in the butt of the pencil to vibrate when you're doing things so that you're supposed to have haptic interactions. I'm interested in how natural that feels, considering the haptic motor is in the back of the pencil, but that should be interesting. Also, they introduced a gyroscope so you can change the orientation of your brush, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, I think it changes orientation. And also when you're doing, it looked like, I think in Hover, you can rotate it to select different things in this cool little menu.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on this Apple Pencil Pro. I make fun of the lineup, but this pencil is really cool. And there's a lot of cool stuff.
Adding like a Z-axis or a turning axis of orientation for interaction, I think is very cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get it so I can continue drawing smiley faces and stick figures.
Dude, to me, this is like watching this. It reminds me of a GoPro. Like a GoPro marketing, when I watch it, I'm like, that is the coolest thing ever. I could be that cool. And then I buy it and I'm going 4 miles an hour down a ski slope. And the pencil is like, I want that, but I can't draw at all. So what would I ever use?
Yeah. I think for artists that draw an iPad, it's cool because there are certain brushes that are like kind of just flat lines and they have this stroke. And so now that you have the orientation, you can like change the orientation when you start the stroke.
Yeah.
And the hover thing to select layers was pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm. And then they worked with, what is the Procreate? They worked with Procreate to talk about like all the ways that they're using it because they're going to have an API for the gyroscope in the pencil, which is interesting. And Procreate has this new animation app called Procreate Create Dreams, where you can pull in a bunch of Procreate assets and like create insanely simple animations. And they were showing how you could be playing back the video and moving things in the video and turning the pencil, which would rotate the objects.
And when you say simple, you mean simple to do. Like,
Yes.
they're ultra complex animations that you can do, but you can do them in an extremely simple way.
It's like simple keyframing, which is cool. So I think I actually think the Apple Pencil Pro is one of the coolest updates to this entire thing, to everything that's coming out. But that's going to be $129. It does work with the M2 iPad Air as well as the M4 iPad Pro. However, only those two models, because they moved where the magnet array is for charging and apparently had to change the magnet array. I don't know if I completely buy that.
I mean, it's more of an excuse than just the like what every tech company does is like new product, new feature, you ain't getting it on the old ones. So at least there is somewhat of a hardware difference on why it needs to. And the magnet array changed because of where they moved the camera, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
$129.
That was basically the Apple event. You can pretty much pre-order everything right now if you want to.
You can pre-order it, get it soon, and then get the rest of the features sometime in the summer.
And then remember that the iPad doesn't do anything. So, yeah, you can spend a bunch of money and then watch Netflix.
Every time an iPad comes out, I want to buy one, and I realize I will only use it to watch movies on the plane.
Yeah, it's just like, why?
Speaking of iPad things, we forgot the most important thing, which is the sneakers that Tim Cook was wearing.
Right.
Were freaking dope.
Yeah.
Me and Alex
Well, they were designed on an iPad.
Well, yeah, they were designed by an iPad, which came out after. But Alex and I were trying to figure it out after the event, like what sneakers are those? And we just like really couldn't find them. They're apparently Nike Air Max 1s 86s that were designed on iPad. I just want to say sneakers app won.
But they only made one.
No. They tell you they made one.
Oh.
I'm telling Apple they need to make more.
How do you design something from 86?
Wait for it. Wait, hold on.
Oh,
nice.
That's kind of a real question. It's just like that's the generation
model.
style.
I think it's the model.
I guess. Yeah.
Cool, Tim. I was gonna say I was so close to just being like, thanks for watching that clip.
Yeah, and then one magnet goes
right on that like button.
Right on the like button.
Yeah, kapow, right on the like button.
You better magnetize your hand to that like button right now.
You better magnetize your fingers to your keyboard and leave a sweet comment.